The Nuggets are falling off because they can't win on the road. We had the mid-off of the week between the Bulls and Raptors. The Hornets made sure Jason Tatum's offseason comments would make him look goofy. And of course, you will be hearing the thoughts of a Suns fan as they went 4-0 this week. I will be discussing all of this and more in this Week 5 NBA recap, which is going to be in a different format than usual. So make sure you let me know if you like this one or the old format better. Let's get right into it. So obviously this is the new format. I'm going to be talking about each team before I give you the power rankings, which is going to be at the end. Don't worry, it's going to go quick. But I think it's a better use of our time. So I'm going to be starting off with the 76ers today. They lost to the Cavs 122-119 in overtime. That was a great game to watch. It was an unfortunate L. Then they didn't have Embiid, and they lost in Minnesota where no one can win besides the Timberwolves. So that happened. But then they beat the Thunder in Oklahoma City. And that was a very big win in my eyes because I know everyone's been shifting to the favor of Oklahoma City. And yeah, the Sixers won that game. So I was proud of that win. They went 1-2 on the week. Then the next team we're talking about is the Raptors, who went 2-2 on the week. They lost in Orlando, unsurprisingly. They beat the Pacers. Barnes and Siakam each had a good game. I mean, Siakam went off for 36 and 10. But Dennis Schroeder probably was the second best player with 26, 6, and 5. So that was a big game for him. They beat the Bulls in the mid-off of the week. Not else we need to say about that. Then they had an unfortunate loss in Cleveland where they lost by 3, and that's all you need to say about that. Still not a New York Knicks guy even after this week. They lost in Minnesota 117-100, and they literally got bullied. Then they beat the Heat in a very ugly game in Madison Square Garden, but they should have won that. Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero were not playing, and that took a big toll on the Heat's offensive ability, and that's why the Knicks were able to win that game. I mean, Quickly went off, but yeah, it was an ugly game. I don't really think too much of that win. But then Brunson sauced and tossed my Phoenix Suns, and RJ Barrett was not cooking in that game for the first time all year. He had a noticeably bad game, at least when I've been paying attention. And they lost to the Suns by 3 without Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal. And yeah, I'm happy about that because my Suns, but yeah, a disappointing week for the Knicks in my eyes. The Boston Celtics lost in overtime to the Hornets on Monday night on League Pass. Yeah, we've all seen the memes, but it's kind of funny they didn't have Derek White there. They beat the Bucks. They almost blew it that game though. And then they got cooked by the Magic. Porzingis got hurt, Holiday didn't play, and Tatum and Brown just didn't perform well. But then Tatum went off against the Hawks for their second win of the week. But yeah, Celtics are, I just can't say they're not good, even though they went 2-2 this week. I mean, it happens, but the Celtics are a good team. Yes, I'm going to say it. They're a good team, and I hate to say that. Then the Nets. The Nets, my takeaway on them is that they have a bunch of really good players. They just don't have a superstar without Cam Thomas, or they just really don't have any offensive consistency. But when you look at the box score and everybody's contributing, that's why they win games. They went 2-1 on the week. They lost in overtime to the Hawks in Atlanta, 147-145. But Bridges had 45 and 10. He's back in his form. Miami didn't have any of the 3 players, and they won that. And then they played the Bulls. Not going to elaborate much on that at all. The first Western Conference team we're going to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks. They beat the Lakers in LA and then lost to the Clippers. If you told me at the beginning of the week they were going to lose to the Lakers and beat the Clippers, I would have believed you, but I was not expecting this. And the fact that they got absolutely beat up by the Clippers was a little bit shocking to me. But Kyrie and Luka played really well this week. I think they're both top 5 in their respective positions, probably top 3. Obviously, Luka's 1 or 2, but I think Kyrie's a top 3 or 4 shooting guard right now. He is still, in fact, him. And yeah, they just didn't get any production outside of those 2 against the Clippers, and that's why they got cooked. The Rockets, they went 2-1. They lost to the Warriors. Yeah, oh well. Sengun had 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists. And yeah, he's baby Jokic, literally. And then they beat the Grizzlies. Jalen Green was cooking there. And then they dismantled the Nuggets at home. I mean, the Nuggets can't win on the road. So, yeah, I'll talk about that later. But Sengun tried to do Jokic against Jokic, 21, 15, and 8. And then Jalen Green, any game he's been efficient in, he's looked really good. And he's starting to look better than Cade Cunningham, but obviously that's got a lot to do with the team. But that is the truth right now in my eyes. The Grizzlies went 0-3 on the week. I'm not going to talk about them much, but Derrick Rose had a good game, and I was very happy to see that. The Pelicans beat the Kings twice this week, and they beat the Clippers. So they went 3-1. Their loss to the Jazz was because Ingram and Zion did not play. Oh wait, no, Ingram played, but Zion didn't play. So yeah, it's whatever. Jordan Hawkins was cooking all week though. And yeah, against the Kings, there was no answer for Zion. But I do really think highly of this Pelicans team after watching them play recently, since they've been dealing with some injuries. And you're going to see where they are on the power rankings, but I'm showing them a lot more love than you probably might think they deserve. But they've been really, really good this year in my eyes. The Spurs went 0-4 again. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I know I keep saying I'm not worried about them, and it's because I had no expectation for this team in the first place coming into the year, and them losing's not really a surprise. Wembanyama had a few good games this week, but they're getting blown out almost every night, so it's like he's not going to be performing well or up to the expectations in certain games, because he's only going to play 20 minutes, because when they're down by 40 at times, like, he's not going to play a lot. So yeah, that's why I'm not worried about them, because I've had no expectations, and we see that with another 0-4 week. The Kings' kryptonite is the New Orleans Pelicans. They cannot stop Zion Williamson. They lost to the Pelicans in New Orleans twice, but then they beat the Timberwolves in Minnesota, and I'm pretty sure like they're the only team to do that, so that was a very big win. But yeah, they got matched up with Zion and the Pelicans twice, couldn't handle him, so that's why they have 2 losses. But I still think they are legit contenders if they make one trade and get like an OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam. One of those two, and then they're certified contenders. But they still look good, even though they went 1-2 on the week. My Suns went 4-0 this week. Did we play anybody really good? Nope. The best team we played was either the Knicks or the Warriors. But we did win in Madison Square Garden without KD or Beal. So, you know, I'll take my wins. Obviously, the injuries are really, really annoying, but the fact we went 4-0, even though we did play the Blazers and Grizzlies, I don't care. 4-0 is 4-0. The Celtics didn't go 4-0 this week. So, yeah, we went 4-0, but they didn't. So, yeah, I'm really happy about this week for the Suns. The Lakers murdered the Jazz in their first game this week. Then they lost to the Mavericks at home. I don't really know what happened. I didn't watch that game as much as I wanted to. But from the box score, I don't think AD showed up. I could be mistaken there. But, yeah, I called the Lakers contenders and the Mavericks just a good team and my tier list, and it made me look goofy. But if the Lakers are losing, I'm not going to complain at all. I'd rather look goofy and the Lakers lose than look smart and the Lakers win it all. So yeah, good job, Lakers. Keep losing. The Clippers went 3-1 on the week. They beat the Spurs twice, so I'm not thinking much of that. Then they lost to the Pelicans, and they beat the Mavericks. Yeah, it's whatever. They went 3-1. Let's see what happens when they play really, really 4 good teams instead of the Spurs twice. If they give me a 3-1 week after that, then I'll be happy about them and move them up higher on my power rankings. But they didn't really do anything impressive. But I do need to say Paul George is definitely the best player on this team. It should be definitive. Kawhi has not been good. Harden has not been good. I've noticed that Kawhi and Harden cannot play well together at all. They just don't have any compatibility on a basketball court. And then Russell Westbrook coming off the bench has made the Clippers bench look so good. And yeah, Russell Westbrook, he should honestly be starting still. I don't like James Harden, and Russell Westbrook, he is one of the best leaders, and that's showing off the bench. But yeah, Clippers beat 3 good teams, and then we'll talk about moving you up on power rankings. And then the last team from the Pacific Division is the Golden State Warriors. They beat the Rockets, which was surprising. They beat the Spurs, even though they almost choked that game, and they lost in Phoenix, so they went 2-1. But against the Rockets, Curry had 32 points on 14 shots, which is really crazy to me. And then CP3 with 15 points, 12 assists game. Yeah, there's a reason they won. And then the Suns game, Chris Paul got ejected, which was hilarious to me as a Chris Paul fan. Him and Scott Foster should never be allowed to be on the same basketball court again. Scott Foster should be banished from reffing his games because they lose every game he refs. But yeah, I'm not overreacting to it since it was a really weird game. But yeah, I'm overreacting to the fact that the bench almost came back and beat the Suns when the Warriors starters couldn't do that. And then they almost choked to the Spurs, which was like, what? So yeah, it was not a very impressive week, but it was a very funny week for the Warriors. The Pistons went 0-2, but Jaden Ivey's back in the starting lineup, and guess what? He has 17 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 7 of 8 shooting. And then he has 25 points, missing 7 shots, but he went 8 for 10 outside of 3-pointers. So yeah, he just wasn't hitting threes. So yeah, Jaden Ivey back in the starting lineup. I'm a Monty Williams supporter, but why hasn't this man been starting all year? I do not know, and he does need an answer for that. The Chicago Bulls really aren't worth talking about. I mean, they went 0-4 as you'd expect. Patrick Williams had a good game though, but they still lost. Yeah, no more talking about the Bulls. The Cavs, they went 2-2. They won in Philly in that OT thriller. I'm going to be coming out with disappointing players, the most disappointing players, but the Cavs have like 5 contenders for this. But Donovan Mitchell, what is going on this year? 4 of 8 shooting against the Lakers for 22 points, and then 4 of 17 shooting for 10 points in 34 minutes against the Raptors on Sunday night. Yeah, and this team lost to the Heat without Bam. But on your own home floor, you lost the Heat without Bam, 129-96. There's not much else to talk about with the Cavs. I don't know how they beat the Sixers, but they did. Congratulations, but you've been a very disappointing team this year. The Pacers. Offense is ridiculous. That Hawks game was crazy, 157-152. I noticed that they moved Benedict Mathurin to the bench recently this week, and then Hield hasn't been missing anything since that. So yeah, it seems like a good move. And then they played the Pistons, which I don't really think much of, but they lost to the Raptors. So a meh week in my eyes. Besides the nice offense, like the entertainment aspect of this team is very good, but the competition wasn't that great, and they didn't play that great outside of the fact that they scored 132 or more points each game. Defense is not their strong suit, to say the least. The Bucks got me thinking like 100 different things right now, so I'm going to keep it short and simple. I used to think Giannis was the best player in the NBA. Then at the beginning of the season, Jokic was outplaying him significantly. But now Giannis wants to get back on it. He scores 42 points against the Wizards. I mean, it's the Wizards, but he only missed 3 shots and had 13 rebounds, 8 assists. And yeah, now my doubts are gone. Giannis is the best player in the NBA. But then they play the Celtics. They had no business only losing by 3, but hey, they were good enough to do that. But then they only beat the Wizards by 3, and then they only beat the Blazers by 6. I honestly don't know what to think of the Bucks, outside of the fact that Giannis and Dame are finally clicking. Everyone's clicking. They still can't defend. I still think they're one of the best teams in the NBA because Giannis and Dame are playing good basketball. They're not going to lose to anybody but the Celtics, maybe the Nuggets, Timberwolves. You know what teams I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm like, what is it? It's a roller coaster right now. It's hard to get a good sense on what's going on in Milwaukee outside of the lack of defense. The Hawks can't defend anybody. 157 scored on them. 145 scored on them, and then they played the Wizards and then the Celtics. Yeah. 2-2 week. I'm not impressed with the Hawks at all. I don't care about the Wizards at all, so we won't even talk about them, except for the fact that Kyle Kuzma's playmaking has been magnificent this year, and he's really, really impressed me. Everyone's talking about these young players, but we need to talk about Kyle Kuzma because the leap he's taken as a playmaker has been really, really special. And it's nice to see he's really breaking out, and you can see why he got the contract he did. And if they were to make him available for trade, a lot of teams should target him, like the 76ers, because you see him with his playmaking. It makes a world of difference. But that's the only thing about the Wizards that was good this week. And then you look at the Hornets. They beat the Celtics. They beat the Wizards. They lost to the Magic. A LaMelo Ball injury, really, really worrisome. But Miles Bridges, I mean, I've got to give him props for his performance. I don't want to comment on him that much. Let's just say he's been really, really good this year. Double-double in every game this week, I think. Didn't miss a beat. But LaMelo injury is really worrisome. I don't really have too big of an opinion on the Heat. They went 2-2 this week, but they've been dealing with so many injuries that you can't really talk about certain games. I mean, they lost to the Nets. They had no Bam, Butler, Hero, or Duncan Robinson. And then at the Knicks, I don't know how they choked it, but it was in large part due to the fact that they had no Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson and couldn't score the basketball. So yeah, that's what happened there. Then they beat the Bulls, obviously, and they beat the Cavs with no Bam, which was really impressive. But yeah, I don't really have a general opinion on the Heat after this week. Then we got the Magic, who went 4-0 this week. They've been making me look really, really dumb. Because I said they hadn't beaten anyone. Then they beat the Nuggets, Celtics, and then they played the Hornets and Raptors, which obviously isn't that. But the Nuggets and Celtics are the favorite in each side, each conference. So those are big wins. They're moving up. But yeah, that's all there is to say. Paolo's looked all right. Franz looked good this week. Cole Anthony has also been really, really good ever since the Markelle Fultz injury. I think they should lean to Cole Anthony over Markelle Fultz, even though that pains me to say. But that's just the sad reality. Magic looked good this week, 4-0, obviously. Obviously moving up into the top 5 of my power rankings. The Blazers and Jazz are two teams I'll just talk about together. The Blazers went 2-1 on the week. 1-2 on the week. Their only win came against the Jazz. When the Blazers are healthy, they're really scary. But can we just... Scoot Henderson finally had a good game. Round of applause for him. Obviously, it wasn't a great game, but it showed improvement. But yeah, they look a lot better when they're healthy with Brogdon. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Simons. And then the Jazz, what's the record? I'm going to edit this out when I look at it. But where are the Jazz? Oh my God, I went the wrong direction. Where are they? What'd they do this week? The Jazz, they went 1-2 this week, and they beat the Zionless Pelicans for their win. They didn't have Markkanen or Clarkson, so that's big. But they got their butts kicked in LA by the Lakers, and then they lost to the Blazers. So yeah, 1-2 week for them. Now we get into 3 of the best teams in the NBA with the Thunder, Nuggets, and Timberwolves. The Thunder, I told y'all you'd be in the top 5 if you beat the Sixers. You did not beat the Sixers, so you're gonna be slipping. But nevertheless, you went 1-1 on the week. Chet Holmgren had an amazing week. SGA had a good week. Yeah, there's not much else to talk about though. The Timberwolves went 3-1 on the week. Sorry, their only loss came to the Kings, and that was a home loss, which was surprising to me. But they beat the Sixers, they beat the Knicks, but Embiid wasn't there. They quite literally bullied the Knicks in that game, though, and then they played the Grizzlies. Obviously not the best competition, but still a strong week, I guess, considering the fact that they beat up on all these teams. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Nuggets, and they are very disappointing this week. What is going on the road? They cannot win road games at all. Obviously, they went 2-2 on the week. Their 2 wins came to the Pistons and Spurs. They beat the Pistons by 4 points in Detroit. Obviously, Jokic got ejected, but still, they're the Pistons. Then you can't win on the road, which is really, really worrisome to me. And yeah, they're going to be slipping a little bit in the power rankings, which are coming up right now. Oh, goodness. Look at that foreshadowing. Power rankings are up. Here are your power rankings. I'll give you 5 seconds to look at each page. And if you have any questions, you can always comment down below. If it's respectful, I will respond. But these power rankings are made off of my personal opinion based on what I saw from this week. And obviously, there are no perfect power rankings. So take these all lightly. They're going to change next week, and they're going to keep changing every week. Obviously, this week's power rankings is a little different. I'm trying to do more of a weekly recap thing instead of doing just straight up power rankings. So let me know if you like this format better or the old format, because I will go back to the old format if you like that one better. But yeah, that's this week's power rankings. I hope you enjoy. If you want to see my tier list, it's got really bad because the Magic started playing well and a lot of things changed. So if you want to watch that video and clown me, here's that video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications, as I do got good content coming out that I've been working on. Have a good one. Bye.